Man, oh man. We started this whole show almost a year ago with Set Me Free, Why Don't You, Babe? And now Monsters and Heroes, the great song. Hey, everybody. Ron Onesti here, Hangin' and Bangin', artist in lockdown. Another Thursday night from rock and roll heaven here in St. Charles, Illinois, the Arcada Theater. Welcome. This is episode number 51. You know what that means? Coming up next week, we'll tell you all about it. Episode 52, a year of doing this with my brothers. Let's bring them on the air. I'm so excited for this show because we've got Paul Shaffer, Darlene Love, all kinds of stories. This might have to be a 3 or 4 hour segment, I think. That's what it's going to wind up being. But it's going to be if I don't get off of this, because I know Vinny is probably sleeping right now. So let's bring Vinny Appice from Dio, from Black Sabbath. Where's he at, Vin? Go ahead, give it to me. Okay, he's reading the paper. What do you...
I just got a package from Amazon.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
Oh, that's the wrong thing. Oh, I thought it was, I ordered shoelaces. Can you believe it?
Who orders shoelace? Go to Walgreens.
No, you can't. You to get the real shoelaces for running shoes or Skechers or stuff you're playing. Can't find those.
So,
They're too
I think
long,
this
too
is
short.
this is going to be a reoccurring segment because last week you brought to the camera a shoehorn for some
That's
godforsaken
from Amazon
reason.
too. I got the shoehorn right here.
So it's a little. So first the shoehorn, then the shoelaces. Do the
Yes.
shoes come next? I mean, how does this work?
No, the shoes
do
are
the
good.
soles come next?
But being that you play drums, and this has happened before, go on the road and you get to the gig, and all of a sudden you go tie your shoe to go on stage, the bass drum foot,
Mm-hmm.
and the shoelace breaks.
Is that why
Can't
most
have
of you
that.
guys are barefoot when you're playing?
I don't play barefoot. No.
Thank God. I've seen those freaking
So now I
claws you
bring
got.
an extra pair of shoelaces.
Well, listen,
See?
this is a riveting conversation. I would like to
I know.
continue about rock and roll shoelaces. However, we have a star. We got a big show tonight. Let's bring our big brother to the camera. You know him, of course, from the Fudge, Vanilla Fudge, Rod Stewart, Jeff Beck, and so many other things. The legend, the hair.
There he
this
is.
guy. Are you
I'm
not
an actor.
only?
I'm an actor now.
Well, no, I'm thinking that you're not only a customer, you're also the president, the hair club president. Is that what you're?
I am.
Yeah, he's not
What
only
is
a
that?
member, he's the
member, yeah.
president.
I'm the president. Hey, by the
Look
way,
at you.
I don't wear shoelaces. I wear Skechers to play in that don't have shoelaces.
Because
you don't have
I
that
play
problem.
faster, I have to have them tight on my foot.
Ah, I see.
And
Yeah, or
harder.
they'll go flying off.
Right.
Right.
He could get away with loose shoes, not me.
So, hey, Vin, don't look at
Actually,
him, though.
that's his middle name, Carmine Loose Shoes Apiece.
Loose shoes.
Mr. Loose Shoes.
Vin,
Yeah.
no. Here's what's happening. We are complimenting this freaking guy so much about his hair. Look at him. He's actually
looks
using
good.
product.
I like it now.
He's
I
looking.
like it.
He's using product in his hair right now. Leslie put it in, I'm sure. Look at him. No,
Water.
you got some freaking
It's
dippity
water.
do going on in
It's
there.
water.
It's
Just
not water.
I'm
Water.
trying to
Dippity
figure
do.
out
It's
how your
water.
the hair is so white and his mustache is dark.
I don't know.
No,
what's going on
look
with
close.
this guy.
Look close. See this gray in the
Still-
mustache.
Yeah, you better keep that dark.
I gotta
You don't
keep.
wanna
I
look
got.
like-
Look, that's the logo. I gotta keep it somewhat.
You got to
dark.
keep
Oh,
it
it's because
dark.
of the logo. So I just
Yeah.
want you to know then that I've been talking to Bruce Pilato about Cactus, a date.
I know.
Talking to Steve about Drum Wars.
I know.
We're making that happen.
And you're talking to me about a parade.
And I'm talking about you about the Columbus Day Parade.
Yeah.
And what's the other one?
And Vinny's got to be on it too.
And then oh, for sure, if he can make it, if he's not grilling. But
That's not barbecuing.
I might have a.
And
I
then
think I'm
also-
booked for a barbecue then.
also talked to Steve Shank today at TKO about the Fudge with who is
Robbie
it with?
Krieger.
Robbie Krieger, right? With
Yes.
Robbie Krieger. So we got
Yes.
that date coming. So I am going to be appeased and appiceed all over the
Hey,
place.
All right.
All
Yeah.
over the place. I'm not going to have any time or for anybody,
But
for new
remember-
James or anybody.
But you got me 3 times.
I know. Listen, that I could do, but Vinny,
All right.
it's a
wait.
tough one.
Yeah.
Come on,
You can
Vin.
only
I
handle
only
so much
want
of
to
it.
come one time. I only want to go there one time anyway.
Well, I got you last in line. We got that confirmed, but you got to do a Drum Wars thing.
Yeah. So it's 2 and 2.
Okay, I'll do drum was thing. I'll have new laces by then
I
too.
got
So.
3.
Bring the shoehorn. We'll have
And
a
the shoe.
custom. Put a shoehorn and
I'll get
laces
you
on
a
your rider.
shoehorn. I'll
I
get you a
actually just
shoehorn.
got some blue tape from Amazon.
So is
Oh.
that how you keep your shoes on?
No, that's how I keep. I
I
used
thought
to.
they were blue shoes, blue
Oh,
I'm gonna
suede
come. I'm
shoes.
gonna go over to
no,
Vinny. I'm gonna go to Vinny and do this.
impossible.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
paint.
let's
I was
move
afraid that
on.
was gonna hurt. I thought your mustache was
No,
No,
gonna
that's
come off.
painter's tape. That's
painter's
painter's
tape.
tape.
This
It doesn't
painter's
Oh, okay,
stick
tape's
as
good.
much.
easy.
Wouldn't that be
Easy.
funny if all he had was this left? All right, so we got a big show tonight. You know, you talk about legends, you talk about icons. These guys hear it all the time. But there's a
Yeah.
difference between legends and icons that we worship or we remember, and then those legends and icons that are still rock and rolling. They've been around for years. They continue to be relevant, continue to be exciting, continue to be a part of the musical fabric of today. And that's who we have. We have two of those folks on our show tonight. And I'm so excited because I'm gonna both I'm gonna come, been in my theater, come to my theaters, and you guys haven't met these guys yet, have you?
I know, Paul.
No,
When I did my book release party, Paul came up and jammed with us, and I know him. Then we did something for his kid's school upstate with the fudge. I know Paul for a while.
Well, let's start with ladies first because we are
Yes.
gentlemen of class. At least one of us are.
Yeah.
And and I'd love to bring to the camera here. I'm not even getting into the whole introduction thing because we don't have that kind of time. Miss Darlene Love, uh,
Yes.
where is she at here? There she is.
hey,
Hey.
Let me tell you
welcome.
something.
Hey, a
Hey
rock
What
and
guys.
a
roll Hall of Famer here. Rock and roll Hall of
That's
Famer.
right.
Yeah,
This is her 10th anniversary
she's
in the
it.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
One of the
Wow.
most beautiful lady. You're just beautiful and gorgeous.
Yeah.
She's beautiful inside. I've had the opportunity to meet her, and she remembers that day like it was yesterday, I'm sure. And and but really, I mean, I was telling her before the show a little bit. You see interviews. I've gotten the chance to meet her. Just a nice person. You don't get a lot of nice people out there anymore. I mean, look who I got to work with every
Yeah, look
freaking
at
week. But
Vinny.
I know, look at Vinny. But
Yeah.
Darlene, welcome, dear. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is
So you
great.
said you live 45 minutes from Manhattan, but I'm a huge George M. Cohan fan. So could you start saying that you live only 45 minutes from Broadway?
Who's
45
that?
minutes from Broadway.
There we go. Look at that.
Hey.
We got her to sing.
Yeah,
Except when she did it, Ron, she had a nice vibrato at the end. See.
I
yeah.
don't claim to have any of that. A vibrato is like I
No,
probably hurt myself with that.
I'm sorry, Ron. I have one question. Where's your jacket tonight?
It's funny that you would ask that. And before we do that, I think what we should do is bring Paul Shaffer on
Okay,
first.
yeah, bring him on.
I think we should do that. Let's bring Paul Shaffer to the legendary, the icon, another wonderful person. I think there he is. Hi, Paul Shaffer.
Paul.
Hey.
There I am.
well, welcome.
You're another
Boy,
one
it's
of
fun
those,
to be
Paul.
with. I can't wait to get this show started. I'm doing my. Which is better? Is that good lighting on me? Yeah, there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
You
that's
like
good.
that, or you like that? A little
Gorgeous.
darker.
Yeah, I can change my lighting too. I can make it really bright.
They both look
Yeah.
good. The red.
All right,
That's the
I'm
red.
going with this a
Paul.
little subdued. To share a program like this, first of all, look at that screen. I mean, there's $1 million worth of talent there.
Yeah.
And that's just, what we would get at the after party because we would sell that too.
Yes.
Man.
VIP.
And the two brothers who pronounce their names differently,
Yeah.
which only I understand. I understand it. We don't even have to get into it. I know the history of it.
Carmine's fault. It's Carmine's fault.
I know. Well, I think it's because Rod
Thanks,
Stewart
Paul.
That's right.
Stewart couldn't pronounce the name right.
Right,
That's
that's
right.
right.
I think it really all comes down to that.
Yeah, yeah.
And Darlene Love, whose music inspired me way up in Canada, where I used to hear her records, and ultimately the Fudge too. And when you guys came around in what, 60? When was it? 7? Yeah.
7, yeah.
I would hear it coincidentally on WOLS radio, AM radio, which I could pick up in Canada
In
after
Chicago.
dark. I
Chicago,
could hear the
WLS.
Chicago radio, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And I heard all of this stuff as played by the great DJ Dick Biondi.
Dick Biondi in Chicago.
From that, yes, and that's why I knew about Ron and Esty and the shows that he has there at his theater, where I played. I got to play, and that's when I met him, and it all came full circle. So now we're together.
But see, you know what, you guys, Paul,
Now.
I didn't know you, Paul, and it was so wonderful when I first met you. You told me one of the first records you bought was "He's a Rebel."
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was amazing to
We
me.
had it. It had a yellow label. Didn't it have a yellow label?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
My older brother bought all that stuff and turned me onto it. Vinny wasn't even born yet.
No.
Unbelievable.
Otherwise, I would have bought it too.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
He would have lifted it actually.
And you know, just some a fact here. If you add up all our experience in the business, we have over 200 years of experience right here.
So who's feeling better about themselves right now because of that? I don't know.
Not me.
I don't know if it works that way in rock and roll.
Yeah.
It should.
It's like dog years. I don't think it works that way.
You see, in rock and roll,
think about it.
in rock and roll, I changed my age to Celsius, so I'm only 16 and a half.
Good for
But we
you.
had to all change our ages when we got in the business. We couldn't be over 17.
No.
Yeah. Especially for Phil Spector.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's well known that Darlene sang so many of Phil's records, and the records came out not even under her own name, under the name of groups. Like the Crystals, it was really Darlene.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, and He's a Rebel was one example of it.
Oh, it's the Crystals, right?
Yeah, out as the Crystals, really Darlene's one. There's no mistaking her on it, of course.
Right, yeah.
Right.
So that was a Darlene. And then she did Today I Met the Boy I'm Going to Marry. That was Darlene Love.
That was, yeah.
And did you guys, with the Fudge, did you guys ever do Shindig? Did you?
Yeah, of course.
Well, you must have.
I remember that.
Remember her from, she was in the house backing up everybody.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
On Shindig,
Wow.
yeah, and part of the house band.
Tell me more.
Well, the Blossoms, right? Was Darlene, isn't that right? Your studio group is called the Blossoms.
Yeah, it was the Blossoms. That was the first group I started out with. And, and a lot of people don't
the Blossoms?
Really know.
What song?
When the Blossoms did all the background in 1964 and 65 on a television show called Shindig. It was the first rock and roll national television show was on.
Right.
And we were on it every week, and we backed everybody that was ever a star during that time, which was wonderful. We met all the Motown people.
You guys had singles on your own, too.
Of course.
Yeah, not as the Blossoms, but as Darlene Love, Bobby
seeing
Socks and the Blue Jeans.
That's another one she did. Zippity Doo-Dah. Remember the rock version of Zippity Doo-Dah?
Right.
Bob B. Socks and the Blue Jeans. That was her too.
Wow.
Again,
Well, you got to understand
which was great,
that
Paul.
Darlene...
When I got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there was this guitar on the stage all night, and everybody was wondering why nobody was playing it. And when it got time for me to sing, and we started singing Zippity Doo-Dah, Bruce Springsteen got up on the stage and started playing his guitar.
Oh, nice.
Because he loved that guitar riff, which was played by Glenn Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
Did Zippity Doo-Dah
Glenn.
back in the day.
You got to understand that Darlene and Blossom, they were like the wrecking crew of vocal groups.
Right.
You know, they did just the backgrounds of so many things that you wouldn't, like Monster Mash, she sang.
Yeah, not amazing.
Oh, really?
What about the Ronettes? Did you sing on the Ronettes records too?
Well, we sung the background on all of their records when they first started, because Phil, as a producer, once he had a hit song, he wanted that record to be done and finished with and put out. So since the Blossoms were background singers, he would just say, "Come on, dog, go on in there. You guys get in there and do the background." You know what I'm saying? And that's how it all started. Eventually, the Ronettes did start doing their own background, but in the very beginning,
Be My
it was
Baby.
just Ronnie in Los Angeles doing it.
Be My Baby. Who sang the background?
Yeah. Be My Baby. Also, Cher was on the background in that record.
Eddie Money sang the background.
And let's not forget Sonny. He
I
was a no
wow.
background singing person.
Hmm.
I
Well,
No
that's the
did.
whole
That was my
thing.
buddy. I'm the only one that allowed to say that about Sonny.
That's
Well, that's
awesome.
the whole thing about Phil. He was like a maniac in the respect that, okay, here you guys recorded, but I guess the Crystals, they couldn't get on tour on time, or they couldn't get in to record it on time. So okay, Darlene, you come record it, but the Crystals will take it on the road, and as if they recorded. It was so much of it. Then they recorded a song. I mean, you recorded a song that he had them perform on tour, right? The Crystals.
Yes, I think the worst part of that for the Crystals was when the movie 20 Feet from Stardom came out,
Great
and they
film.
had the Crystals singing "He's a Rebel," and over the background it says, "But Darlene Love is singing the lead on this song," and they were actually on television shows lip syncing to that version. Well, what
Oh
could they
wow.
do?
That's
Wow.
Isn't
right.
that wild? Hey, Carmine, you asked me a question about
Where's your
before this.
jacket?
Where's my jacket? So,
Yeah.
I did this when Paul was by me, and we're going to show a picture in a second. But I got a little something in honor of Paul tonight. So I thought, there we go. All right. So there we go.
Hey,
Whoa!
Yeah,
Paul.
yeah.
So I want to make
Whoa!
sure,
Oh,
you
all
know,
right.
we don't play around with Paul Schaefer's on when it comes to jackets.
Damn.
I would
I went
never
and
be
got
able to,
one.
could never equal that one or top it. Certainly
Oh
not.
Yeah.
man,
I
let
would
me go
never
get
want
mine.
to.
Let me go get mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Uh-oh.
Well, here's the thing. So show that picture real quick, Ben, please. So
There we
I,
are.
I
Yeah.
went and got that jacket and went to take with Paul. And here's
Yeah.
one of the coolest things that ever happened to me, right? So I'm in
That's
there with, and
cool.
that's our dressing room with Paul Schaefer, and I got this
Nice.
freaking funky jacket. And I told him I bought this just for you to take a picture with you, Paul. He said, "Wait a second, it's not perfect. Let me make it perfect." He pulls out his signature glasses, and those are his glasses I'm wearing.
Oh,
Whoa!
That's a
yes,
trophy
that's
for
right.
me. That was a trophy for me.
Nice.
That's
Nice
right.
glasses.
It
I was
was a
wondering where
great
you got
night.
them.
You had Valerie Simpson singing with you that night.
That's right. I did a little tour with my old band from the Letterman show, and Valerie did accompany me. Um, we couldn't afford Darlene's hairdresser. If if you if you want to know the absolute truth, but you were so great to us all that night, Ron.
Thank you.
Um, and I just, you made the whole thing a gas, and I did a little interview too about that DJ, Dick Biondi,
Yes, you did.
who's retired now, but I hope that comes out sometime.
There's a
That
film. That's
documentary.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, so let me ask you guys.
I
Okay,
think,
Paul, you
Paul,
with
you
David
and
Letterman.
we love rock and roll music so, and we appreciate the music so much. There were times when we would work at the club, the bottom line, and I would be
Oh
doing a
yeah.
show there. You would be in the audience. I'd call you up. I'd say, come on up here and play this song. And if Mark Shaman was in the audience, we say, Mark Shaman, come on up here. And it was like dueling pianos one night in my show.
Oh,
And that's what makes what I do and what you do so great because we love the music and we never get tired of it.
Yeah.
Especially you,
Nice.
Darlene. And what I so respect so much is you call yourself, you're not an R&B singer or a
No,
soul singer or a gospel
no.
singer. What kind of singer are you, Darlene?
I am just a rock and roll singer.
You dig?
yes.
Chick sings rock
Yeah.
and roll. That's
It's
what I
all
love.
mixed
Yeah.
in together. When you hear me in person, you hear all of that.
Yeah,
When
Oh
that's
you hear
yeah.
right.
me on record, Paul, what's Phil Spector didn't record me the way I really can sing. Matter of fact, the joke was when Phil would record me, he would speed it up just a little bit, just to
Ah,
change my voice just enough, so you wouldn't know that I was that. And when people see me sing in person, it's like, wait a minute, we didn't know your voice was that powerful. But
yeah.
he did not record me that way. But when you see me in person, you hear the gospel, you hear the rock and roll, you hear the rhythm and blues. But it's because of the songs that we sing, and which is so great that people accept it. They go, "Wow, this is fantastic. This is better than I
I'll
thought it was
tell
going
you
to
though,
be."
you brought all of that to the records. It caught out. Whatever. I don't care about how many wall of sound there was. You came charging through with that gospel feeling of
Hmm.
yours, which it
That's
killed
right.
us all. It killed us all at the time. And the Fudge, when they came out, There they
Yes.
were. They had that soulful sound.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
that you guys, hearing the
My
Spectre records and stuff.
I based my vibrato on "Be My Baby," that
Yes.
song.
Wow.
I, and I used to sing at in high school with doo-wop bands. With no bands, just all the vocals. We'll all chime off and then we'd sing.
Chime off. Yes.
Yeah, and then and when she be my little baby, I went, oh
Yeah.
man, that is so cool. And then I
Yeah.
heard the backgrounds and then all that stuff and the stuff you did. He's a Rebel. My older brother used to play that song all the time. It was a little Victrola we had, and yeah, I learned how to
45.
sing. I learned how to sing from those records.
Oh
And
yeah,
you,
That's
man.
great.
the fudge was all four of you sang, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, you had a hell of a background sound.
yeah. I
All
Yeah.
of
sang.
you,
Yeah,
all
we
of
all
you,
sang lead too. I sang "People Get Ready."
you sure did
Yep.
with that sound, and
Yeah,
all of you had the slow vibrato,
yeah, we did.
and all in sync. I
In
think.
sync, in sync, exactly.
It
Sure.
was incredible because they're were known as a heavier, soulful rock and roll band, but it still touched back to the R&B. It's still
Yeah.
Oh
all
yeah.
connected. It's incredible. Even all these years later, you see how it all connects. That
Even
foundation.
you take Ronnie James Dio. Right?
Yep.
Ronnie was really a soul singer too. He grew up on all that stuff, and he had the heavy vibrato, and he went more in
Yeah.
the heavy rock direction. But he had soul when he sang it. That was the great thing about Ronnie. When he sang heavy metal or hard rock, he had soul when he did it.
that's when he got a heavy metal drummer. I think that's when everything changed for
Yep.
him.
Hey, I listen to soul. I know what's
Sure.
going on with the
Of
grooves.
Yep.
course,
And
of course.
Vinny's
that's the
first
most.
band. Vinny's first band had horns.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
We played with John Lennon too with that band. And
And you
then
guys came from
Really?
where? Where did you guys grow up?
Brooklyn.
Oh,
Brooklyn,
yeah,
watch your wallet.
You
got
know,
to.
you know Mark Rivera, right? You know Mark
Yes.
Rivera. Well, he used to play with
He
Vinny
was in the
his
band.
He was in
Okay.
his band. It
And
was
then we
called
did
Pop.
some work with John Lennon, and it was amazing. But we were a funk rock band. It was so cool playing that
What was the
stuff.
name of the band then?
BOMF, BOMF. We
Which
didn't have a
meant?
good name. Band of Mother
Uh-huh.
Wait.
Fig,
Oh,
Newt,
you
Fig
can't
Newtons.
say that. Oh,
Fig
you
Newt.
can't
I
say
said
that.
Fig Newtons.
We get
Only
it.
Paul Schaefer
Hey,
can say the
hey,
F word because he's the first one to
Oh,
do it on Saturday Night Live.
hey,
But the
listen. The
funny
only
thing
guy with
about it,
I'm not
he
proud
do
of
it on
that.
Saturday Night Live. But you know what, Paul? The interesting thing about it was, okay, things slipped through the cracks and whatever, but it stayed with it. Like as the repeats, they never edited it out.
Hilarious. It was Ron's talking about. I was in a sketch doing a little acting on SNL way back in the first 5 years or so, and we were doing. Did you ever hear the Trogs tape?
yes.
This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the
You played
Trogs.
it fucking wrong.
That's right. So the Trogs, this is the Trogs band in the studio trying to follow up Wild Thing, but they don't have any musical terminology. All they have is the F word. They say it over and over again. We took the tape and transcribed it, and transposed it into medieval times. So
Oh wow.
but we couldn't say the real F word, so we had our own word. The flogging. We were saying the flogging. You played the flogging beat wrong. You flogging played it. And one time I just slipped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the real word.
Hey, all right.
And Ron, I think they edited it that night for the West Coast, which 3 hours later. But then no one cared. The bad English accents we were doing, you could barely make it out
Make
anymore.
the difference of flogging to the real word.
That's
Uh,
right.
That's
But you
funny.
have that distinction, Paul. So I'm sorry, Vinny. You
Well,
don't
and
get to say that
my
word.
distinction why I didn't get fired, because I think you could see that it was really a slip. Others
If it did it
others came
today,
after me
forget
and
it.
got fired for doing it on purpose.
Yeah, do it today. They would fire you and call you something else.
But
That's right.
I don't know if you guys realize that. I mean, Paul. We know him musically. We know him for all his accolades. But he's actually, an actor, and he was originally in comedy and trying to be a comedy. But I want to ask you, Paul, because obviously for being from Canada with these all stars of comedy, in 1972. You're in this film, in this play, or I think it was a musical. You're talking Gilda Radner, Martin Short, Eugene Levy, Dave Thomas, Andrea Martin. I mean, that's basically what SCTV,
That's
Yeah,
right.
SCTV.
and that was
That's
before it all
right.
Yep.
happened.
We
How
were
did that
in
all? How did it all
the
come
little
together?
show we were in was called Godspell. It was off Broadway, 1971 musical or something. And then they had a company up in Toronto. And when a New York show would come into Toronto, everybody would audition. It was an open call. And somehow that composer, Stephen Schwartz, who he has Wicked, well, it'll be back, running again, longest running show. That was his
Hmm.
first
Yes.
show. And he came up and did the casting, and he just found the funniest, most talented people. And then he hired me too that very day of the auditions. I was there playing just for a couple of friends who were singing for him, and he hired me. So, I blame that guy, Stephen Schwartz.
Blame him.
I like Paul in Spinal Tap myself.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah, that was
Another
great.
one of my
Yeah.
hits.
I just started watching Schitt's Creek on Netflix. So you're
yeah,
in that
Yes.
too.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Where are you in Schitt's Creek? I've been watching
In
that.
one episode, in their Christmas episode, I make a little appearance.
Did
Oh,
Eugene bring you on?
I gotta, I
Yeah,
gotta,
well, and I've known his
I
son
gotta relook
Dan.
at that because I love that show. That show
Yeah,
is
Hey,
unbelievable.
Carmine, you can't say shit. It's Schitt's Creek.
It's
that's
Schitt's
right.
Creek. Well, it's Roland Shit. The guy's name is Roland Shit.
Yes, it is.
Is it
Rolling shit. Rolling shit.
rolling shit?
I've
Darlene.
known the kid, Dan Levy, since he was born,
Yeah,
because I go back so far with Eugene to that show, Godspell,
1972.
1972. Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow, that's
Wow.
That's
awesome.
crazy. Darlene, let me ask you a question here because here you are. I mean, you're an impressionable young lady and you got all this stuff with a great voice, of course, a beautiful girl, and you're making this whole thing happen. Um, but we talked about and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the Phil Spector thing, of course, but as I'm doing research, I've been researching Phil for a long time, but how controlling he kind of was. I mean, he even named you Darlene Love, didn't he?
My first name is Darlene,
Yes.
but Phil Spector loved gospel music. I didn't know this, and he knew a gospel singer, Dorothy Love Coates, from
Mm.
back in the day, the
Woo.
50s. And he said, "Do you like the name Love?" And I went, "What? So it's all right with me." I figured, it would be that for that one record, but
Wow.
then I didn't know it was going to be on forever and ever and ever. It caught on, and luckily I outwitted him because I went and had my name changed legally to Love.
Nicely done.
Wow.
Hey, wait a
But
minute.
back
And
Is
then,
he
she
was very
related?
shocked that I did that because he was telling people that he did name me, which is true. He gave me that name. I don't own it. But then he found out I do own it because I went to court and had it
yes,
legally named
yes.
Ah,
Darling
No,
Love.
wait a minute. Our producer's name is Steve Love. Is that a relation?
Nope.
You sure? They
And
look
I'm only
they,
I've
they
kidding.
met a
could be
few.
brother and
I've met
sister.
a few love. I've met a few loves, but no relation.
But you know what, Darlene? We talk to people from Motown, let's say, and that whole experience. Everybody was so connected, brothers and sisters, and being together, living together, working together every day. In your world, with back then being backup singers and with Crystals and all the other bands that were around, did you guys have that same kind of camaraderie back and forth?
You know what? We had more camaraderie with the band, the Wrecking Crew, because our whole days and evenings and months and years was actually with them. The bigger the wrecking crew got, the bigger the blossoms got. The one thing was we could not do as many sessions as the guys could do because they were playing instruments and we had to use our vocal cords. So
Yeah.
they would do like 5 or 6 sessions a day where we could only do like maybe 3 sessions a day.
wow.
Hmm.
So we got to, whenever there was a break, you'd be going to another studio. You guys need a ride? You can hop in the car and drive with me. We went out to a lot of things. What we did, believe it or not, we all did things together. I don't know where their wives were, their girlfriends, or where our husbands were, but we were all hanging out together because a lot of times we would start working like our first session would be like 10 o'clock in the morning, and our
Hmm.
last session might be 10 o'clock at night. So by
Cool.
then we were all tired, go to a bar and we'd sit and laugh and talk and have a drink or whatever. But those are the people who became our running buddies. When we would do things together, we didn't think nothing of calling the guys, hey, I'm having a barbecue at my house next week. Come on over. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It was that we didn't really get to know and have fun with people until we started doing Shindig.
Oh, right.
And when
Right.
all the groups would come to Shindig, they wanted to meet the Blossoms
Hmm.
because we at that time were singing on everybody's record. So that's how we ended up getting to meet other people. But our hangout was with the musicians.
I remember the
Mm.
Blossoms being their own entity. I
You
thought
know,
you
at
guys
the
had hit
time,
records. I thought you had hit records as the Blossoms.
the Blossoms was the first black background singers in the business
Hmm.
as a group.
Mm.
There was only one other black singer at that time, and it was a girl named Billy Barnum, who was H.B. Barnum. I know who you know, Phil. You know Paul.
The
H.B.
great
Barnum, great
arranger, of course.
arranger
Yeah.
in Los Angeles, his sister. And I know you know Plas Johnson, who played the saxophone, one of the
Wow.
wrecking crew, and his sister. But that was it. There weren't any black singers. But
Wow.
as a group, we had a sound.
Yeah.
So that's why most of the time they hired us because we were a group and we had a sound. Mostly everybody else that were singing, they would come through after our union,
Right.
and they would just call, they want 4 girls or they want 4 singers or they want a boy and a singer. But when they got us, they got the Blossom sound. And that's
So
what made us so
after all
popular
these
doing
years, do you have
background.
any problems with your vocal cords? I mean, I
No,
do.
and but wait a minute, Paul. Paul, this is funny. Now, Paul knows how strong my voice is because Paul wrote me a song and I recorded it, and I actually started blowing out microphones.
Ah,
Really?
Yeah.
They had to,
good
woo,
girl.
you remember that, Paul,
That's
about
absolutely
Monsters
true.
Love?
I never
Wow.
saw the expression on the engineer's face when he looked at it. His view meter, I guess, just died. And he got this. He'd never seen it before. She blew out the mic, yes.
All
Wow.
right, good.
Uh,
The problem
He's
is now I
tough.
haven't sang in so long.
Yeah.
Ah,
I'm wondering now. I'm
everybody.
running around the house trying to find something to sing. I've been putting on tracks. I
Call
said, let
me.
me sing to these
Oh,
Please
I
tracks
call
love it.
me.
because I
Sing to
haven't
me.
worked in almost a year and a half.
Wow,
Right.
that's interesting.
Well,
So
that's going
interesting.
to be the
Anytime, Darlene.
testimony, Paul.
Well,
yeah.
one thing Darlene did teach me because we did a live show together. The show Leader of the Pack with all
Right.
the songs of Ellie Greenwich, and would Be My Baby included, and a number of the ones that she had hits with too. The Darlene, and it was the first time we got to work with Darlene in New York. And one thing she said was, "When I'm singing, I don't talk. They don't go together."
Right.
Is that still right, Darlene?
Oh yeah, I don't. If I did Broadway for almost 3.5 years, I did Hairspray, and that was the hardest job I'd ever had in my life vocally
You only sang
because
at
you do
one or two
8 shows
songs.
a week. And so when I work, I don't talk. I mean, literally, I have
Wow.
learned to teach
That's how
myself I
dedicated to
don't
her
talk.
craft she is.
And I drank a
Water. Yeah.
lot of water. And the hardest thing singers don't realize, nobody realizes the hardest thing on your voice is talking because
Yeah.
you don't prepare to talk. You just wake up and you just start talking. Well, you get ready to sing. You have to warm your throat up to sing.
Hmm.
And what I do, I don't do any vocal riffs like they do, but I put on songs that I love to sing. And I just put the songs on and I sing with the songs and I sing out with them.
And
That's
that's
the
your
way I
warm up.
warm my throat up. Yeah.
Wow.
Love it.
Very
I
interesting.
never heard of anybody blowing a mic up.
I
Well,
That's
know.
great. And
That's
we
funny
played
because I just remember that.
loud.
That happened with me and Paul.
yeah.
Well,
Wow.
Wow.
me and Vinny used to wreck drums. Like when I
I
came up
bet.
when I came up in '67. They had all these little drum stands and pedals, and I used to wreck everything. I remember when Ludwig Drum Company in Chicago came. It was Vanilla Fudge, Led Zeppelin, and Jethro Tull. We were headlining, and they
How
were
about
all
that?
Ludwig drummers. They came with all the stands. Oh, we got these new stands. These are great stands and pedals and everything. We want you guys to try them out. by the end of the night, we gave it back to them all broke.
Yeah.
It was great.
You know,
We
you
used to
guys,
crack the
Darlene,
rim,
Paul,
the snare drum rims, we used to crack them open, it was like, because,
Wow.
my generation of really power drumming was never around before, and it used to break everything. I used to do this thing with a cymbal where I grab the cymbal and I bend it and play like a little Mary Had a Little Lamb or
oh,
something.
no kidding.
Whoa.
And one time I was in front of 10,000 people. I went, din, 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 din.
Broke
And
it.
his phone rang.
I just shut it off.
You didn't shut it off. Someone's got to show you
Carmine's
how
phone
to do it.
rings so many times on this show.
Ah, sorry.
Because I'm popular.
But what
I
a
gotta-
great.
Well,
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
I
gotta
grabbed the
call him.
cymbal. I grabbed the cymbal,
Yeah.
right? I cracked off and I had the cymbal in my hand. I said, what am I doing? I said, I just threw it up to the front of the stage, continued my solo. It was so embarrassing.
Now you
Fantastic.
get a
Guys,
lot.
the most fun that I
Lawsuit.
ever had is when I moved to New York, because I didn't really know I was moving here. I came in to New York to do the show, The Leader of the Pack, is when I met Paul Shaffer. And, I had been seeing Paul on, Saturday Night Live. That's where I first saw Paul. I hadn't met him yet. But all the people that became connected with Leader of the Pack were amazing. Most of those people that were in that show ended up being superstars from that one play. I mean,
Huh.
and listen,
Wow.
nobody worked at the bottom line unless they wanted to eat and not get paid.
Well,
That's right.
wow, how about that?
Alan Pepper would give you all the food you have.
yeah.
And we did 2 shows a night. We don't care if nobody was in that second show.
Right.
That's
We
like
did 2
Ron's
shows a
theater.
night.
Ron is like that.
Yeah,
Ah.
Ron's like that.
And
I
but
can
when
do
we
is
were
eat.
doing Leader of the Pack, there
Oh.
wasn't one empty seat in the house.
Let me ask
People
both of you
around
guys.
the block waiting to get in.
When you guys played the Al-Qaeda, did you get meatballs by Ron? He makes the
Oh,
best meatballs.
Thank
We-
you. You're going to get a.
I don't know,
You
Ron,
got
if you
meatballs.
gave us the full meatball treatment that night.
Oh,
but,
I did.
I
Well-
missed it.
I got to tell you, Billy Gibbons, he writes me every month about I got to send him meatballs. Freaking Tony Danza wouldn't leave. Wouldn't
Wow.
leave. I had made him about 24 meatballs. Paul Anka, the guy is 103 pounds, won't eat a thing. Eats my meatballs. Howie Mandel, who won't touch anything to eat, orders 8 meatballs in a bowl. So I'm just telling you,
Wow.
it's good stuff.
He's
And
got
you know
the
what,
meat the
you
balls,
guys-
the meat the
Ooh.
balls.
King of the meatball.
Paul, Darlene, this is our 51st episode, which means next week is our 52nd episode. 1 year we're doing this. I'm lucky
Lovely.
enough to be doing it with these 2 guys. We got
And
a
we
big
haven't
wow.
made
break
a
here.
we haven't made a dime that we were promised
It's
from
cost
Ron.
us. You know what it's cost me in jackets?
Right.
He says
We're
it's in
gonna
the
talk-
mail.
Let's roll. We got to roll a little commercial about next week. We'll be right back at right here, Hangin' and Bangin' with Darlene Love and Paul Shaffer. Hey guys, Ron Onesti here, Hangin' and Bangin' at the Arcada
Oh.
Theater in St. Charles. 52 weeks ago, 3 guys just sat around, started talking, inviting some of our industry friends into our conversation, and it's turned into Artists on Lockdown, Hangin' and Bangin'. And I gotta tell you, the fans been loving it, the entertainers been loving it, I've been honored. I think Carmine and Vinny are having a good time too. So on June 3rd, that's Thursday, 6 p.m., it's our 1-year anniversary show. There'll be songs, there'll be stories, there'll be video clips, there'll be people calling in, a lot of surprises. Make sure you join us June 3rd, Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, while we celebrate our 1-year anniversary, 52 weeks hanging and banging. Some good old rock and roll stories and all-American heroes like Carmine Appice and Vinny Appice. I'll be hanging around too.
We're going to have a lot of surprises for you. The Mark Hudson, the colorful Mark Hudson, is going to be co-hosting with me, my brother Vinny, and Ron Onesti, and my friend Bob here. He might be there too. But I have some other friends that are coming. But anyway, that's June 3rd, 7 p.m. That's Artists on Lockdown Facebook Live, Carmine Appice Official Facebook Live, and YouTube, Hangin' and Bangin', and we got podcasts and all that stuff. But be there, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific.
Hello, this is Vinny Appice here, and I want to tell you about our 1-year anniversary show of Hanging and Banging. That's with myself and Carmine, my brother, and Ron Onesti, and it's our 1-year anniversary show. We're going to have lots of surprises, surprise guests. A lot of things going on, maybe even some anniversary cake, who knows. But anyway, join us on June 3rd, and that's at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and it's Hanging and Banging. I know this guy's hanging and banging.
There we
Well,
go.
cut that shorter at the end. It's too loud.
No, he doesn't like me playing. That's why he says that. See?
Ah.
Yeah, he got his song
it's a
in there.
jealousy. It's a brother jealousy.
All of a sudden, Carmine's song's in the thing.
In the
It's like,
commercial.
what happened to me?
You don't have an instrumental.
We're putting Zippity Doo-Dah in that next time, okay?
Yes.
Hey,
Love it.
Hey, Ron, I got a question for you.
Oh, here it comes, guys.
Can you button that jacket?
Ah.
Oh, that's not very nice.
Speaking of meatballs.
Hey, wait. I got to say, Ron, you look really classy in that ad. You look really classy. You're getting really good at this. Really awesome. You got a camera crew. You got a beautiful theater.
I think it's going to his head.
Me and Vinny got like a room in a house,
Yeah.
a phone.
It's going to his head.
Unbelievable.
Well,
but you know what else I know? You
say
6 p.m. What is it, Central? Vinny says 4 p.m. Pacific, and I say 7 p.m. Eastern.
We covered all the time zones.
We covered all our time zones because we're all in those time zones. It's funny.
Hey, so
let's go back to something.
Wait a minute. David Letterman's show was at the old Ed Sullivan Theater, right, Paul?
Yes.
That is correct, yeah.
So that's where he played there with the Fudge on the Ed Sullivan show.
2 times.
So
we all saw it. We saw it.
You played
what
at
did
the
you
same
play?
place.
First time, of course, you did Keep Me Hanging On. What did you do the second time?
Shotgun.
Oh, great. Your arrangement, of course.
Yes.
Amazing. Now, your drumming, of course, so distinctive. One is reminded of Dino Danelli, but yet you had your own things, equally as effective. He was a big band drummer and stuff.
Yeah,
and loved Cozy Cole and all that. What about you? Is that where all your stuff?
Cozy Cole, Buddy Rich,
same
Joe
thing.
Morello. Matter of fact, I saw Dino open up for Gene Krupa at the Metropole.
Yeah.
And I was underage. I used my older brother's draft card to get in there. And when I saw Dino playing, he did this. He had a 24-inch bass drum, and he might have even played Gene Krupa's drums. But it was like boom boom gaka boom boom ba boom boom ja boom boom ba, and I was like, wow, that is cool. And he's twirling sticks, and I said, I got to talk to this guy. So when he came off the stage, we talked, and either he wrote it out or I wrote it out, that groove, and I went home and practiced it, and I got it. He was like 3 years older than me, and then I liked his twirl, so I did my twirl a little different. And then when we put the Fudge together, I was actually looking up to Dino as a mentor, and I took what he did to the next level,
And they all, the Rascals all loved you guys.
That's
what I was so impressed with. I see how you got your interact together.
And I played with them. I played with Felix and Gene as the Felix and Gene's Rascals because Dino didn't want to do it. Yeah. So I did it, and I had so much fun playing those songs.
It must have been amazing.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to do, Arlene and I were talking before, because I was trying to get her at my theater for Christmas. She's so booked up. So we're moving her to March, but we're going to do a co-bill with Darlene Love and Felix Cavalier. How about that for a show?
That's
cool.
Phenomenal.
Hey, but you got to tell Felix I got to come and play that show.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'll do that. But Darlene promised me a little present, and I asked her. I'm actually not this small. I'm actually on my knees. And I begged her to play the Christmas song. I know it's March, but I just love it. I just love it. And you did it 29 years on David Letterman. I mean, at any point, did it get to be like, the same old thing? I mean, people loved it so much. But working with David for 29 years, you, Paul, for 33 years, I mean, that's some staying power right there. That's job
Yeah.
security.
Fantastic.
No, you guys don't realize all those people were the same people we saw every year. And it was around the corner from where I was working. So I would just stop by the show to say hey to everybody, and they'd go, "Is it Christmas already?"
Yeah, that's right.
All
That's
right.
funny.
That's
Paul,
when you were in Hairspray. You were a block away from
right,
us.
Yes,
Shane
Yeah.
Pierce.
exactly.
I
Paul,
Exactly.
think.
one of the things
Were
that
you in Hairspray
Well,
for the whole
Paul, you have
time?
to realize now, Paul, something's big is coming up, Paul. I'm
Yeah.
I'm hitting a real great birthday this
no,
year.
don't say it. No, you're not. No, you're not.
A real great one,
You're
Paul.
not.
You are
We gotta
not.
have to do
You are not.
we
You
got
are
to do
not as.
something real
You are not as
real
old as Bob Dylan.
special.
Yes.
Are you
Huh?
having the same birthday as Bob Dylan had?
Yes, I have the
Oh,
same birthday as
look at
Bob
her.
Dylan.
Yeah, okay, but I wish we could do a side by side. Let's look at what Bob Dylan
I
looks like.
know.
Oh no.
Let's look at her.
I'd like to do a sound by side.
Yeah,
Let's hear
right.
what
Yeah.
Dylan sounds like at 80,
Yeah,
and now
right.
Darlene.
Well, come
So,
on.
Darl,
What did he sound like at 40?
that's right. It's exactly the same. So, Darl, what are you planning for your 80th celebration?
We're working on it. We're working on it. We're
All
working
right.
on it.
All
We
right.
just
80.
can't
Oh
let
my
this one
there.
fly
God.
by.
Enjoy.
I got
I'll
my-
be there.
Let
I'll
this
be
one
there.
fly by.
I got my 75th coming up.
God bless you too.
Hey,
Amazing.
Darlene.
I got
That's what
I got a
doing-
question. Were you in
Another
Hairspray the whole
show.
time, Darlene?
No, I took the second lead. The
Because
second time. I
I
was in
saw
it
that
the
show.
last 3 years it was on Broadway.
I saw that show. I can't remember if you were in it or not.
Yeah, it was one of the best shows I've ever done. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a good
Carmine?
show. Yeah. Huh?
Enjoy it.
I can't hear you, Ron. What happened?
Did you enjoy the show?
I did enjoy it. Yes.
She was in it.
What? Who was in it?
She was in it.
Darlene.
Probably.
No, I know, but I don't know if I saw it when she was in it or not.
So I'm saying, if you loved it, if you had a good time,
Oh,
I guarantee
she
you
was in
her.
it. Okay.
She was
you
in it,
got
Play
yeah.
with me here.
Hey,
Okay.
Well,
Darlene,
Paul,
you
you
look so.
came and brought your whole family, which was wonderful.
Oh,
You
you
sure
did?
did, and you killed it. As you do everything. When we did that Leader of the Pack show way back in the 80s, it was like Darlene carried the whole cast on her shoulders every night, elevated it, you know.
Well, it was so much fun. I was reliving my life all over again. You have to figure I
Yeah.
did all those songs in the 60s, and here we are all 20 some odd years later, and I'm still doing these same songs with joy.
I know the feeling.
So,
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. That's how I opened the show. You guys are still rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. One of the most amazing things, again, if you read anything, both these folks, you all have books. They have their memoirs. They're fabulous reads, both of Darlene and Paul. Of course, Carmine too. Vinny's is coming shortly. But Paul,
Mine's gonna have my meatball recipe in it too.
well,
Some plain
Okay.
you've all got books. His is gonna be a
Hey,
comic.
hey, Darlene, you look really young.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't look.
I am
thought
young.
You
I'm
got.
very young.
I mean, come on.
80. That's crazy.
80
Are you
years old.
kidding? I mean,
Look at her.
it is.
I remember when my grandparents were 80. They looked like they're 80.
No, look at her.
Yeah, you
You
look
got to
great.
see her on stage. You gotta
No,
see
they
her.
look
Awesome.
like that at 60. Grandma and
Right.
Grandpa.
Yeah, right.
But Paul, what I
Wow,
wanted
you
to
look
reference
amazing.
though, again, there's so much that you do outside of what people know you for. I mean, incredible behind the scenes stuff with producing, with recording, and then also these live shows that we see on TV. How much you've got to do with so many of them, including the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. You've been MD in that, I believe, since the beginning, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
And one of my favorite parts of that are those mashups, those collaborations with people. I think it was like Axl Rose and Bruce Springsteen or something you wouldn't
That's
see.
right.
How do those mashups? How does that stuff happen? Are you part of that decision,
Only
It's
or
always-
Paul
is it something like who's
Schaefer could
available?
pull off something. Listen, only
Thank you.
Paul Schaefer could pull off something like that because he is in such control. Listen, I'm serious. When I get on the stage with all those people and I know Paul is behind me, I know it's going to work perfect. Listen, you guys, remember this. They don't rehearse that.
Yeah. That's
It
crazy.
just
Yes,
Paul
that's right.
knows how to do it, and he holds it together, and he brings all of them together and he points to them when they're supposed to come in, and it just works. You
Yeah.
Well,
have to
what?
be so not
Mhm.
just talented, you have to love all of that music so that it's just in Paul's soul. I don't know anybody else that could do that. And we're talking about, I mean, you name it, but Paul does that.
That's right.
It's
Well,
just
I don't have to
amazing.
say anything. Thank you, Darlene. I don't have to say anything else, Ron. How can I top that?
Well, let me ask you then. Let me ask you, because like I said, if you guys really, look at some, because I've got the whole set. I'm a huge fan of the rock and roll induction ceremonies as a production. I mean, I just love it,
Yeah.
especially the finales are always just incredible musically, just incredible. And again, you've got, no matter how professional these, between Eric Clapton and Paul McCartney and whoever it is, no matter how professional they are, they're all got their different styles and their paces and their to be able to meld that together musically and the way it sounds. It's incredible, Paul. And really kudos to you on doing that. But let me ask you, with all these great collaborations and these mashups and these personality things you got to go through, was there ever a train wreck, or was there ever a train wreck, or is there one that you looked at and said, you know what, these all been great, but this is special?
Well, thinking back to the first one and then the first maybe five or seven or so or 10, they weren't on TV yet. They were
Right,
just in the Waldorf ballroom
Mhm.
for that audience, captured
right.
with like a home video, one or two cameras, maybe that's it. Not professionally at all. And those were the days when nothing, absolutely nothing was rehearsed. Matter of fact, there were no numbers during the show, just and then at the end, a big jam, totally spontaneous.
Mhm.
When it gone on television, people weren't going to be that spontaneous on TV because there were train wrecks all the time. There are going
Right.
to
Right.
be, there are going to be. Uh, but there sure were brilliant moments. And I think when Darlene was inducted, or her numbers were on TV, and there was a little rehearsal involved. And we knew Bruce was, maybe we didn't tell Darlene, but we knew he was going to jump up. He wanted to play that solo in Zippity Doo. But so it goes all the way from totally not rehearsed to sometimes now that it's a professional thing, all rehearsed. And anywhere in between with lots of screw ups, no matter how much rehearsal you have.
But hey,
Because the
that's
other
how
thing is,
it's going.
you
I've
have a
been to a
lot of
couple.
rehearsal, and then you have a 5 hour award show. By the time people get on, the drinks have been flowing. Well, how are you?
Right.
The rehearsal doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
I agree.
Right.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I think it
That's
was,
so true. That's so true.
yeah, I think it was Eric
And that's
Clapton
magic.
actually said that to me one week. I was worried he was going to play with Buddy Guy and BB King. And I was trying to nail down the solos, and he just took me aside. He says, Paul, these guys are going to be, both of them, they're not on the wagon. They're going to be three sheets to the wind. And of course, I had to admit he was right.
Well, those shows are amazing. I've been to a couple of them. I was at Darlene's in 2011.
Ah,
And that's when I met Darlene at Joan Jett's a few years ago.
oh,
And it
yeah.
was actually Joan Jett and Ringo Starr. Remember that night? It was crazy. Stevie
Oh, yeah.
Wonder was there with who was it? I think he
Paul's phone.
My phone, yeah, I don't want it. Oh,
um,
I see.
It's Carmine.
Yeah, yeah.
He's calling
Carmine.
you.
I'm trying to think who
Paul, hey Paul,
Okay,
answer your
yeah.
phone.
Stevie
I
Wonder
did, but it's
actually.
too late
I'm
anyway.
gonna tell this thing.
Oh, well, I can't get it. Is this
Um,
what Carmine puts you through every week?
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
It's funny.
Today I
What
turned the
about,
volume
wait,
down.
I'm getting a Coca Cola. I'm getting called for a Coca Cola jingle. 10 to 11 plus 20. I can do it. Okay, good.
Yes.
I just
A
made
jingle. Yeah.
There
87.
you go.
Plus money.
I just made 87.50.
We can
And
always
that,
take a break for a commercial. Yes.
That's right.
as
Yeah.
that
Take
check's
that
coming
call.
in.
Commercial break.
I'm trying to think who Stevie Wonder inducted. Bill, who was
Bill
it? That
Withers, yes.
Bill Withers, right? And during the rehearsal, like Paul said, that whole thing it takes like 5 to 6 hours shooting it. And one of the things happened. So Stevie Wonder goes on stage and he's doing. And Bill wasn't able to really play anymore, so he had Stevie Wonder. They said, remember Paul? They sat next to each other. and Stevie messed up. He's like, man, I can't read these charts.
Right, right. Of course.
That's
It
a
was
He's
a
good
good
one.
always the
night.
first
It
with
was
those
a
cuts.
good night. I tell you what.
Yes, indeed.
So
Hey, were
do
you
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 there
know what,
tonight?
know?
Paul? It's great
Were
So
you,
because
how much?
nobody really expects those to be perfect. That's what makes them great.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what
Yeah,
right.
I mean? It's like coming to rehearsals. They want to see you make the mistakes. They want to see
yeah,
all that.
you're
yeah.
That
right.
I think that's all a part of it. But
Yep.
it always still
That's
works, no
why they
matter
love this
what.
show. That's why they love this show.
Hey,
Phones
why
are
not?
ringing. Look
Totally,
at it. Cuts
but
out. Everything.
totally spontaneous. You know.
Not too slick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
jackets that
No.
don't fit well.
Yeah. What are you
Hey,
talking? You're saying
Ron,
this doesn't
did you
fit
go to
well?
the Hall of Fame with Vanilla Fudge was inducted? Silence.
Yeah, I was there. Remember, I was right there in the
Yeah.
front
Yeah, yeah,
row.
right. Wrong.
That day will
I
come.
will be there.
One day.
I'll tell you, I was there though when the Vanilla Fudge played the Atlantic 40th anniversary.
Oh, that was great. That
I
was
saw the
great.
sound check rehearsal at about 6 p.m.
Yeah.
and then you played later at I don't know 8:30 or
You know, it was
something.
great for me that night when we walked off the stage. Phil Collins was sitting on the side of the stage, and he came up and said to me, he said, "You don't know how much you guys influenced me." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Wow," because I loved Phil Collins in those
Wow,
days.
that's
You
cool.
know, I was like,
You
"Wow."
sure he didn't
And
mean me?
Well, I don't know. You weren't there that night, so
He may have. No, he may
I
have.
think he said your brother Finney has influenced me so much.
How
So
did
yeah,
he
maybe you guys have.
pronounce that last name? It's all
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the
he didn't
last
know.
name.
that's right. He didn't know
That's
either.
right.
Well, with his accent, it sounds different both ways anyway. It
yeah,
doesn't
right.
matter. Darlene, you are, your vocals are incredible. Obviously, so much so, Rolling Stone magazine names you one of the greatest voices in rock and roll history.
Woo!
When you first
Yeah.
got that accolade, I mean, did it slap you in the face? Like, really, did it make you come to some reality that maybe, hey, maybe I am something here?
No, I think the greatest thing about that when you don't know that, when you don't feel that, that humbles me. I don't know about it because I know some great singers, and I've worked
Sure.
with some of the best. And to put me with those singers as one of the top 100 voices in that magazine is so humbling to me because I don't think we as entertainers take that on ourselves to pat ourselves on the back and say, yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
But I think
Right.
what's interesting is, and I don't know this, and I'm going to go back and do my research on this because it just came to me. I wonder how many of those 100 are still performing today. You are, of course.
Not many, believe me.
Right,
I was
Yeah.
right.
talking to
I mean, you're
Patti
talking
LaBelle
Billie
not too long.
Holiday. You're talking, I mean,
I was talking to Patti LaBelle not too long ago, and she said, doll, and Paul calls me doll too. She said, it's not too many of us left. We're talking
hmm
about Dionne Warwick. We're talking about Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight. I mean,
hmm
Wow.
that's
who
about
else?
it. That
That's
about
a
covers it. And
yeah,
Vinny
Yeah.
Appice.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I
Thank you.
feel for my generation of drummers. You know, this really was Dino, me and Dino left. You
That's
know,
right.
and Dino don't play. Ginger Baker's gone, Mitch Mitchell's gone, Keith Moon's gone, John Bonham's
Bonham.
gone.
Yeah.
You know, and the first generation was that '67 era of those drummers. And I'm the only one. I get people say you're the last man standing. I said,
Let me
Well, a
well,
lot
ask
of
both of
kidding.
you guys, because you asked Arlene, vocal problems.
yeah,
Drumming is the most physical
oh yeah,
instrument. It's
oh yeah,
right up
Yes.
there with singing.
Everything is working at the same time. And a
Yes.
lot of drummers sing. So they're using 5 instruments at one time.
And
I
they're
had to
like
do.
running
I
I
always
every.
thought they
I
were
had to do
amazing.
a thing. We had a song called Blue Murder, and I was doing this really intricate groove, and then I had to sing the background. And normally I don't have a problem. And I started playing the groove, and I started singing the background, and then I started screwing the groove up because
Yeah.
I had to work on this as a
uh,
5-way independence, you
Yes,
know,
yes, yes.
and I had to practice it off,
It's
at
hard, man.
home until I
But how
got
about
it.
what you said earlier? You guys hit hard.
yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
Pounded.
Yes.
Or
totally.
bangers.
The
Yeah.
pounding of the drums. How do you do that when you're not a kid? How
Well,
would
well,
Keith Moon have been able to play had he lived? Would he
Yeah,
have been able to play?
we
right.
never, you know what? We never stopped playing. Both of our careers have always kept
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
It's
That's
when
the
you,
key, Paul.
it's when you
Never
stop.
stop.
You
Okay.
stop for a
So
couple of
true.
years. Oh, I'm gonna take 2, 3 years off. 5. Then you go
No,
back, and you're starting
it's
from
not the
way
Then
same.
you're
down.
starting. Well, all of us are in that
Terrible.
boat now, aren't we? As we all try
Yeah,
to pick up again after the
Well,
pandemic.
me and Vinny are lucky. We
Oh
have
yeah.
studios here. We have
yeah.
both have
I've been
drums,
playing.
and
It's
we've
been
been
good.
playing in the
Good.
studios. You know,
The only injury we had in both our careers, which are quite long, was we had the torn shoulder.
rotator cuff
The
surgery.
Oh,
rotate, the same exact
you both
injury.
got it. You both got it, eh?
I got it
Yes,
first,
Wow.
and then
Yeah.
he wanted to get one, so he
Did
got
you
it
So he
did you
after.
did.
catch
and I
did you
got
catch it
twice.
from him? Did you catch it from him, Vinny?
I caught it from Vinny.
No, I got it first. I tore it
Yeah,
up. I
yeah,
couldn't move my
and
arm.
I caught it from Vinny.
Yeah.
I was on stage when it happened. I was with Michael Schenker, and I did this great fill, and I hit this cymbal up here, and I went,
Ow.
whoa, with pain. But
Oh,
I brought
Ah,
my arm down, and it was stuck there on stage. It was
Wow.
stuck down there, and I
it
had a
was.
solo. And if you know Michael Schenker, he plays like this. He never looks up. I'm trying to get his attention to tell him I can't do my solo.
Right.
Forget about it. The solo came. I had my arm resting on my fat belly, and I was reaching for the tom tom
wasn't the
like
solo
that. Horrible.
zippity doo dah
Ah.
Yeah, right.
Paul,
with
I
one
heard a
hand?
rumor.
Whew.
I heard a rumor. Could this be true, Paul? I mean, always, this isn't a TMZ thing, but I heard a rumor that you were supposed to get the role of George Costanza, but you didn't return Jerry Seinfeld's call. Is that a rumor?
Well, basically, too, would have been. They actually offered me some role on the show. It may have been before they had the whole group. There was four of them. It was an early, Jerry Seinfeld is getting a pilot. Wants you to be in it, his sidekick. That's all they said. And yes, I had no help at the time. Nobody to help me answer any mail. And I just said, son, what kind of a show could he possibly have? And
Oops.
only the most beloved show in history.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's pretty much true. But not, when I saw Jason Alexander, he said, what was that about you? No, not you, not exactly him, but I certainly was offered to be on that show.
Oh, wow. That's
I
cool.
know.
Well, it,
Wow.
it kind of worked out for you anyway. So, Paul Schaefer, thank you so much for being with us this week. Darlene, we
Awesome.
love
Yeah.
you. Thank you so
I tell
much.
you, I got to come and play that show with Felix. I want to jam with Darlene.
Done. Done. We're
Hey.
bringing you in. We're
Do it.
bringing
Let's
you
do
in.
it.
Beautiful.
Well,
Yeah, it'd be
thank you for
awesome.
joining us this week. Again, we're approaching a year. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you got to like us. You got to share us. You got to listen to us on our podcast on Spotify. We got so many things going on, but make sure you tell all your friends about Artists on Lockdown, Hanging and Banging each week here Thursday nights, 4 p.m. I think I got this right. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and 6 p.m. Central. I think I got that right. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. We're approaching 1 year next week. See you on Thursday. Artists on Lockdown, Hanging and Banging. Once again, thank you so much to our guests tonight, Paul Schaefer, Darlene Love, man, two of a kind. We'll see you guys next week here. Hanging and Banging, Artists on Lockdown.